We're gonna do a Lightroom edit today. So in a lot of my editing, I use mainly Photoshop, but I'm gonna run through a full Lightroom edit, and I'll just kind of talk through the different tools that I'm using. So first things first, we're gonna up our exposure a bit, and then we're going to do a color balance. And the easiest way I found to color balance it is you're gonna take your vibrance and saturation all the way up to 100. That'll let you see all of the different colors that you have working in your image. Typically shadows are gonna be a little bit cooler. So I'll just move this to the left till there's a little bit of blue on those holds, and then I want a bit more magenta. This ground out here has a lot of almost green in it. Like it's just a weird color of yellow. So we're gonna add a lot of magenta to that. And then put both those back down to 0, and you can just double click on the thing, the point there to center it again, and then we'll center our exposure too. And then switch it to black and white. And the reason why I'm switching it to black and white here is because if you're editing in color and say your saturation's really high, it's going to be harder to tell like where your tones are. The colors can kind of confuse you, but like, let's see, so this will probably look really weird like this, but then if we go to black and white, we can see that actually doesn't look all that weird, and that's because we can just put the color back down, and it's like, oh, boom, there's the image. Like when you're adjusting contrast and all that, it's bringing a lot of saturation out of the photo too. And sometimes your contrast isn't off, it's just that you have too much color, and you just need to fix that a little bit. Also, your white balance, if that's off, make that a little bit warmer. Right there. I like that. I'm going to reset all these and actually show you what I'm looking for with these. Okay, so black and white. Okay, so that way we can only see the tones and not the colors. Exposure, we're going to move that up a little ways. We're looking at our histogram over here. We're not wanting to get it way too much into our like whites, but we're also going to drag our highlights down just to, like, when I'm eyeballing this, I'm trying to make sure that there's a decent amount of contrast between this area and this area. And so I'll increase my exposure a little. Shadows will come up, and that's just getting the mass shadowed area a little bit better exposed. And then blacks will come up too, and that's it's adjusting your black, so far left of your histogram. But I always try to keep my shadows higher than my blacks because I feel like it keeps the contrast there a little bit better. And we'll also up the contrast, and we'll notice like in some of our darker areas we might be losing a little bit of detail or something, but we'll fix that in a sec. Okay, so do, and then this is all just kind of, I don't know, to eye, like you kind of get used to what it should look like. And I'll also use a tiny bit of dehaze because it's kind of just a contrast that sharpens a little bit as well. I kind of like the way it does stuff. Okay, so we've taken it from right here to right here now. So already, like, that's postable. So then our next step, we're going to go back into black and white because we're still just editing tones, but our tone curves. The way that our tone curve works is we have this chart, and we can see how it's peaking on the left side right there, and then there's a little bump on the right. So that main peak right there, that's the main mass area of shadow. So that's going to be all of this area, maybe a little bit of the pads. This bump over here is going to be more of this land out, like kind of just going off into the distance there. Because over here on a histogram is white, over here is black. So the easiest way, in my opinion, to use it is click on that tool right there, and then kind of find the mid-tone of your subject right here, and you'll see it's almost right in the middle of the histogram, is typically where it is when I do it. So I'll click there, pull it up a little bit, and then I'll find just like a medium gray spot on the wall, and then pull that down just a little bit. Not too much. It's really easy to overdo it. Now I'll go to her pants where it's really dark and I'll pull that up a tiny bit. And then I'm just going to go in here and make another point up here. Pull it down, and then make another one up here. And add some contrast by pulling that up. I can go back to color. It looks a little messy, but it's honestly not too bad. I thought it'd be worse. Sometimes it's come out and it's looking like this, and you're just like, what did I do wrong? They did nothing, because you can just fix all those in just a sec. Okay, so that was tone curve from there to there. It was definitely a little bit much, but I'll just lower my contrast up here, and that should even it out. Okay. Alright, so next step for me is all the way down to the bottom, the calibration area. So it's going to be kind of dialing our colors in, making them a little bit more realistic. I'll start with my blue, and I'll usually just slide them left to right, and you can kind of see what they're doing. Like, you go right, blues go purple, oranges go green, left, and it's more of like a red and teal look. And I usually will go just a tiny bit to the left. And then right here, I'm looking at my skin tones. Probably add a little bit of yellow to it. And then with these, it's going to add kind of a magenta. So I'll add just a little magenta-ish, is at least the tone that I'm seeing that's going in there. And then I'm going to lower the saturation of my reds, up it on my greens, just because I like the way that that looks, and then lower blues. I feel like that'll clean it up a little bit. Like, not really a lot, not really noticeable, but we just went from there to there. So yeah, I know, huge change. It's crazy. It's the little things though. Okay, so now HSL tool. This tool you can do a lot of really cool stuff with. Like, if your climber's kind of in the shade, grab your oranges, pull that up a little bit, and you can see how you can just pull out your climber really easily. It's also really easy to overdo it. Like, that does not look good. So what I'll usually do is just a little bit up on that. Reds will also kind of get parts of your climber, so you can pull that up a little bit too. But also another quick thing that you can do is if you go to your brush, and then we'll just select generally her like skin-ish areas. So do that, and then we'll get a color mask, get the eyedropper, like a little bloop square on our arm, and then should be able to get kind of detailed. Yeah, like right there. And I know it looks really bad right now, but just wait for it. It'll be cool. Probably. Yeah, see? Told you it'd be cool. You can kind of bring up your subject in that way. Bring it out. Now when we're pretty much just making a mask that's just hitting a certain color, and so that way we can brighten up our subject. It's pretty cool, I know. So we'll just do that. That's fine. I feel like it needs a little bit of green. It's just me looking at it. And then back to the HSL. We're gonna get our blues. It looks a little bit purplish, so I'm just gonna pull those a little bit over to the left to make them more blue. Or reds, I usually will turn a little bit more red. See where it's gonna hit though first. Okay, yeah. That'll work in this one, more red. Now oranges, let's see what those are gonna do. we'll also put those just a little bit more red. Aqua, not really gonna be much aqua, so I don't care about that. And that is about it there. Yellows. Sometimes I'll brighten yellows up just to brighten the image up. And then I'll also take a little bit of saturation away from my yellows. Just because I don't have a reason for it. But it is something that I do. We'll see. Oranges, I'm kind of feeling down on the oranges. Just a tad. Blues, feeling up a little bit. Just a tad. Okay, split toning. Super useful. If you split tone the same way every time, it'll help kind of like, I don't know, your style will stay more consistent. It's really easy. So the way that I do it, put saturation to half, and then I do my highlights at blue, but yellow is what most people prefer. I do other stuff on top of it to make it not actually really look like blue highlights, but it's always got that kind of cool look to it. But that's just my style, so that's the awesome thing. You can do whatever you want, however you can imagine. It's great. So we're gonna do, alright, wait, I fine-tuned that. I've got a certain color of blue, and I just kind of look at it and I'm like, wait, yep, that's my blue. Okay, and saturation 50 there. A lot of people do reds there, or a lot of people will do blues if you just did yellows in your highlights. That can look really good. But me, I put a little bit of pink in my shadows. So we're gonna double tap both those out of there. Zoom in just a little bit. And then saturation of the highlights, bring that up. Usually don't go past 7 or so. Like really never past like 10 or 15. Some photos need it, but not this one. And I'll just do a tiny bit of red in my shadows. I don't like to put a ton in there. And dial it in. Yeah, okay. I like that. And then I usually also, that's just another random thing I do, saturation -5, vibrance +10. I don't know what I like about it, but I like it. It's nice. Okay, so that is where we're at now. Looking at it, I feel pretty decent about it. Like it's a little dull. Okay, I think I know what I want to do. We're going to saturation, take this tool, look at the sand, and just pull it up a little bit. And like right there. And then maybe a bit more red to it. I think that could help. And it's too orange. Not orange enough. Okay, there we go. That's the thing. Useful tool. If any of you want to use it, post-crop vignetting. It's decently useful. See if you pull this way down, select your midpoint a bit more, select your roundness, feather it a bit, and then you just grab these highlights, pull them all the way up, and then you can see, well, we don't have much highlights in this photo. But it pulls it out of the highlights. It's really cool. Most vignettes, you look at it and you're like, wow, that looks really fake. But this one, I don't know. It changes things. Looks more natural. So use that instead. I don't use it usually, personally, but that's just me. So let's talk about filters, graduated filters and stuff like that. One thing that I do a lot, this upper corner, maybe I want it to be a little bit darker. Select over this way. I'll actually have an overlap per arm just a tiny bit. Go to there. And exposure will come. I'm actually going to do shadows down. Exposure can stay. Blacks down. Contrast up. Maybe. I don't mind that. Okay. Now, this is a neat part. Range mask, luminance. And we're going to pull it out of highlights. And then increase our smoothness, decrease it a bit. I want to be a little bit sharp. Okay, we're just going to leave our smoothness right there pretty much. Let's see. And then this just overall adjusting. I'll just do that much. I think that's just fine. Yeah. Oh my god. Weird. Okay, so that's normal graduated filter, however you say it. Radial filter, I use this one thing on that, which I have, it's called bright light, little preset, just brightens things up, and this is where I add light, or like warm light back into mine. So I'll take it, my sun's coming from this upper left side, so I'll make a dot up here, and just stretch it all the way down. Invert, range mask, luminance, and then I'll pull it just a little bit out of my shadows, increase the smoothness, reset it, and from there, my computer's going slow. Okay, so from there I can just increase it a little bit, and then you can see how it just kind of warms it back up and makes it, I don't know, happy again, stiff. Okay, it's like that much. Okay, so now I'll go back to black and white and just look. I think it's a little bit too bright. So I'm gonna if you scroll over the little tip for you, scroll over these sliders, then you can use your down arrow for increments of 5 or 10 depending on tool. Yeah, it's like 5 here, but exposure it's 10, and then you put alt or option, and that'll do 2 and 1. So little fine tuning kind of makes things go easy sometimes. Okay, I'll go down. Okay. Well, I think that is just about there. Yeah, I like it. Okay, and then cropping for Instagram. You're gonna be doing a 4x5 crop. I don't know why it keeps going to my other photos I've recently cropped when I go to try to crop something. It's weird. So 4x5 by 8x10. What I'm looking for, so you have, if you do Command O, that'll siphon through these different overlays for your crop. I like this one. I'll use a lot. This one, I just kind of put that on her face, and that's generally a third line. Or not a proper third line, but one of the, it's even called the little third, the golden third, I think is what it's called. Not totally sure. But it almost just puts her in the center. What I really want in the photo is the hole that she's going to, where I want to give her somewhere to land, so that's why I want to include pads in the bottom. Like if you went up like that, I just don't think it would look is great. Yeah. Make it bigger. Put her like right there. You want to give her somewhere to go, somewhere to come from, somewhere to fall. Do that. I enjoy that. There's a little bit of empty space up here, but it's whatever. It'll be fine. Last thing, spot removal tool. We got some jackets in our shot like I did here because I was lazy. Can just draw on them and it'll pick a new spot. Usually picks really poorly, so be prepared to do something with it. That didn't actually do too bad, but you can move it. That's the thing too. Kind of just move it wherever and it'll be decent. But I'm gonna Command Z, put that right back where I put it, because that was actually pretty decent. Usually it'll like put someone's face somewhere. I don't know. It does weird stuff. I don't like it. Okay, so we went from, where are you? Not that. Oh, that. To that. Not that. Right. Oh my gosh, computer is so slow. That. To the, oh my. That is what we ended at. Let's do it. Freaking, I mean, what is happening to this computer? You don't, why do a thing of you're supposed to, oh, want to see something neat. So that's the Lightroom edit that we just did. I've already edited this photo. This is my Photoshop edit. I am still perfecting it, so let me show you what I would do. This is my post Photoshop process stuff. It is kind of washed out, and I don't really like that look. So I'm going to grab my shadows, pull those down. That'll give it some more depth to it. Blacks, come down a little bit too. Actually, I'm going to go to black and white for this. It is way too bright. I can tell that with using eyes. It was very bright. And then we'll increase the contrast a little. Lower the highlights. And let's see how that looks. Better. Okay, so I think that looks a lot better. But yeah, that's a good Photoshop edit. And then this is more of a Lightroom edit. And you can see when we look at this edit, main difference here is going to be our blacks in here. You can't really see them too well. We can fix that by pulling these shadows up, but I don't really love the way that it looks when you just pull shadows up. So I actually do different things in Photoshop to be able to I don't know, keep things similar. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, and then you can see my Photoshop edit, how you can see the shadows. Everything looks nice. Nothing's underexposed. Nothing's overexposed. Like, you can see the detail so well in that. Like, you can see the seam. Like, that's what I'm always looking for, is when you're out in real life and you look over at something, like, you can see what's in a shadow. It's not that dark. It doesn't look like that. It's very dark. I don't know why I made that dark, to be honest. It's, what time is it? It's 5 in the morning. I've been awake all night. But I'm making a video for you guys. So, hope you like it. But, yeah. That's all I got for you guys today. We'll make more videos coming up soon. I'm staying in this house with this nice little garage area for a little while, so I'm gonna try to crank out some more tutorials and workshops coming soon. Hopefully first one not this weekend because that's tomorrow, but next weekend. I'll see what I can do. Be tricky, but we'll get it done. We'll get it.